Yo, what is up guys? It is Samool back again with another Epic 7 video for you guys today. And today I'm going to be talking all about the story summon. If you guys don't know what the story summon is, just by completing a side story in the side story list, which got reworked, you'll be able to actually pull for the unit that is featured in that side story. So if I go to the side story list here and I complete Villager side story, then I'll be able to actually do his summon here at the bottom left as you see and choose him for my story summon. Now the first one that you do, the first banner that you choose will actually be for free, but after that you're going to actually have to get 4 story collection tickets, and those are attainable from completing the side stories in the list there. Now like I said, you have to make sure you actually complete the side story for that unit. So if you want to pull for, let's say, like Euphine here, you have to make sure you actually do her side story respectively and make sure you finish it out, otherwise you won't be able to choose her. Now that being said, we're going to have a tier list for this on your screen here very briefly, and we're going to be talking about why I have certain units in different tiers. So this is the tier list guys, and what I think you guys should be pulling for on this story banner. So we're going to separate them into 4 tiers guys. We have the must summon tier. I think these units you're going to want to summon no matter what as quickly as possible because they're very powerful. Next, we have the great options tier. These units are going to be very strong as well, but not units you have to beeline for because of the fact that you can do without them, but they are still very good units, and you will eventually want to get these units. They're a little different from must summon because I think the must summon tier, as soon as you get them, you'll see a huge difference in your account progression in both PvE and PvP. Next, we have the okay options. These options, still okay units, I would just kind of stay away from them. We're going to talk about why I think these you want to kind of stay away from, and then not worth it. These units either are very weak or need to be buffed, or just aren't that great in the current meta for both PvE and PvP, so you're going to want to stay away from these units. So starting off in the must summon tier guys, there's only 2 units here, but I think these units are extremely OP. First off, as you guys already know, you guys probably already expected this, we have Tamarin at the #1 spot. I think Tamarin is the most important unit to get from this bunch, especially if you are still progressing through PvE, because she's extremely powerful for PvE. Even if you're in the late game guys and you have all your teams done, Tamarin is very nice to have because you can slot her into about like 80% of your PvE teams on the same gear set, and she will be able to do basically everything you need from a Soul Weaver standpoint. So she's very strong. I think this unit is a must have. Definitely want her. She's not used in PvP, but it doesn't matter guys, she's just that OP in PvE. They call her the best unit in PvE for a reason. Next, we have Rowana guys, another Soul Weaver. So this unit, not as powerful as Tamarin in PvE, but she has a lot of PvP usage as well. She's very good against counter attacking units and extra attacking units because of her S2, and after her recent buffs, she's a lot stronger now. So PvE, she's really good because there's a lot of bosses, especially once you get into like chapter or episode 3 and episode 4 and those bosses will have a lot of extra attacks, counter attacks, dual attacks and stuff like that. And Rowana kind of trivializes those bosses. She's also very good in Hell Rage, she's good in Labyrinth and stuff like that. Very powerful, even very good in Automaton Tower if you're struggling there. And in PvP, like I said, she's a good answer to a lot of counter attacking units. You have like Rem, Bellion, she's very good. SSB, Seaside Bologna, she's very good into the OG counters, or actually anything with counters, even like Shu she's good against, and even like what's it called? Violet and like Remnant Violet, if they counter, she's okay as well. So for that reason, Rowana is also a must summon. I think Tamarin is a little bit better than her because she's just that much stronger in PvE, just so OP. But Rowana is a very close second. I think she's also a must summon as well. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the must summon tier, not too large. But let's talk about the great options tier. So like I said, these options or these units you're going to want to pull for eventually, but they're not as important as like Tamarin and Rowana. But keep in mind, these units are going to be very powerful either in PvE or PvP, and they're going to be very good if you can actually pull for them. So first off, we have Shu. So I think Shu is a very powerful unit in the current meta. You'll see her a lot on defense teams. She's also very good in World Arena, very powerful PvP bruiser unit, but in PvE you won't really use her. For that reason, I don't think she's a must summon, but if you want to get into PvP guys, Shu is a very good unit to pick up because you can slot her into your defense teams, and also in World Arena or RTA, you can pick her as a very safe pick usually. She's very powerful and very annoying to play against. Next, we have Valencia, kind of similar to Shu in the fact that very good in PvP, especially in World Arena and stuff like that, and offense teams. The only thing is you can't really put her on defense because she doesn't have any counter-attacking mechanics or RNG built in. So for that reason, she's a little lower than Shu in my opinion, but still a very good option to go for. Next, we have Destina guys. She recently got buffed and now she is super strong. very powerful in PvP. You can even use her in PvE early game until you get Tamarin, but if you're gonna, summon for Destina on this banner, you might as well get Tamarin, so that doesn't really make sense. But Destina, very, very good as a PvP unit. She's extremely powerful, especially in slower fights, and right now, she's a very good answer to cleave, as well as to, slow bruiser heavy teams as well. Next, we have Asaria. If you didn't pick up Asaria from your selective summon, she's a very, very good option. You definitely want to pick her up. She's extremely powerful in PvE. Works very, very well with Tamarin. If you can pair them together, extremely good. I would even say, if you have Tamarin and Rwana, you might want to prioritize Asaria right after, because if you put Tamarin and Asaria on the same team, you have only Asaria and Tamarin skills on. Asaria will, even on auto, always use her S2 on Tamarin and reset her S3 cooldown. So very, very powerful. Asaria is a very, very good PvE unit. And next we have Euphine. So Euphine made a rise in the current metagame for PvP. Extremely powerful as an opener. You can pair with like Zeo and stuff like that. But even though she's very, very powerful, the only reason she's not a must summon is because of the fact that you need a lot around her. Honestly, I think I might be rating her a bit highly on this tier list, but I still think she's very, very powerful for PvP. And also in PvE, guys, you can use her as a Banshee 13 one-shotter. So pretty decent unit for PvP and PvE overall. Just is a little bit harder to gear, but extremely powerful if you have the right pieces around her. Next, we have Crow, guys. So Crow, very, very staple in the current metagame, especially for Guild Wars. You'll see him a lot on offense teams. If you guys don't know what to do in Guild Wars, just bring Crow and like 2 Soul Weavers and you'll eventually win. So Crow's very good there. And in World Arena, you can also pick him, not as strong as before, but still pretty decent. PvE, you can also use him as like a Wyvern tank or just a general tank in general, but Adventure Ross is going to be better for the most part, so mostly going to be picked up for PvP for Guild Wars. He's very, very good there. Going to be used in pretty much every offense team in Guild Wars if you want, so very, very good. I think he's a very good option as well. Senya, guys, extremely powerful on Guild Wars defense, but she's also very good in World Arena, and she's also just very, very good in regular Arena and Guild Wars on offense as well. Only thing is, she needs a lot around her. You're mostly going to want to pair her with Shu because of the crit hit resistance buff that she can give your team. But also, the thing is, Senya is very good with Conquerlius, which is an ML 5-star, so you might not have her. The most common defense team with her is going to be like Shu, Conquerlius, and Senya. You can also swap out Senya or Conquerlius for Lua, so you can have Lua, Senya, and Shu. For that reason, she does need other units around her, but still very decent overall. Violet, guys, pretty decent unit. This guy is a counter-attacking menace. If you guys know, you know. He will always dodge and counter-attack you if he's on the other side. Pretty good. I think he's a very good starter PvP unit for newer players because he's pretty easy to build. You can just slap him on the Abyss lifesteal set and he's pretty decent. And yeah, not too hard, very simple to use, and he can win you games just from RNG. Next, we have Vivian, guys. Mostly going to be used in PvE as a one-shot cleaver. You can use her in Azmonak, Banshee, and Katie's, but she's so good there because she can attack buff your team as well. For that reason, she's a very good option. You can also use her as just a general AoE damage dealer for PvE, and she's very, very powerful. PvP, she can be also used as a cleaver, but for the most part, you're mostly only really going to see her in PvE. Next, we have Celine, guys. So Celine, very good answer to Cleave, also good answer to Conquerlius, and even Lua. She's just good against units with non-attack skills. Very powerful in PvP. She's only a user though, and she's only going to be used in those situations, but she's extremely powerful. She becomes like a pretty much must ban in World Arena, or you might auto-win a lot of games. So very powerful. For that reason, if you're looking for an answer to openers, and you don't want to speed contest, Celine is a good option. Next up, we have Vildred. Vildred is a very good PvE AoE farmer. Also very good in speed cleave if you're looking to cleave in PvP. He has that speed imprint and he does a lot of damage. For that reason, he's also a great option. Next, we have Luca, guys. I think Luca is very underrated. She's a very strong PvE unit. You can pretty much bring her in a lot of areas of content, right? You have like Wyvern, Azmonak, Hades. You can bring her in Raid to every boss. You can bring her in Abyss. Just very, very powerful overall. Kind of a jack of all trades. She has a defense buff for your team to make them tankier. She has decent single target. She can strip with I Love Iolin because she's a mage. She has AoE. She also has defense break. So yeah, for that reason, I think she's very good. If you're looking for a decent all-around damage dealer, she's probably the best on this list for most PvE content. And then next, we have Sirmia. Sirmia is extremely good in late game PvE for one-shotting, especially for Hall of Trials, Golem, Katie's, and stuff like that. So if you want a good damage dealer for late game PvE, she's a good option as well. If you're newer to the game, though, you probably don't really need Sirmia that much, so you can probably skip out on her as well. So yeah, those are the great options tier. Honestly, outside of these must summon and great options tier, I probably won't summon anything else. You guys probably should stay away from the other options. I'm just looking very quickly at the OK options. That most of the time for the OK options, guys, they're going to be pretty strong units. The only thing is they're either very niche, either cleave units, which means that they require very high speed, right? So you have like Peyra, Ran, Ada, and like Flan and Pavel. These are all very good units, especially if you're a cleaver. But if you're new to the game, you definitely don't want to pull for them. And honestly, if you're at the point where you can speed cleave with these units, you probably already have them because you've been playing the game for a while. So these units I would definitely stay away from. And the other ones, right, you have like Arya, Bellona, Charlotte, Charles, and Calric. These units are just super niche, or just not that strong, right? You have like Arya, who's good in PvP in certain situations, Bellona, who's a decent single target damage dealer who gets replaced very quickly, Charlotte is good in PvP, just not the current metagame for her, and Charles is good in Banshee one-shot, right? And Calric is a speed cleaver as well. And then we also have the not worth tier. Just these units, like I said, just want to stay away from. They need buffs, they need help, they just need something, but they're definitely not worth summoning for. Now, that being said, if you play through the side stories and you really like someone's lore, you should definitely pull for them. Also, just because the units in the OK options are the not worth it tier, that doesn't mean you shouldn't play through their side story, guys. It's still worth playing through. Just make sure you play through the ones that you want to summon for first, so that you have the option to summon them and you can farm your tickets playing through other side stories for the less important units. Like I said, if you guys have any differing opinions, let me know down below. And if you guys actually really like a unit, don't worry about the tier list, guys. Just pull for the unit that you want. After all, it's just a game, and you're going to eventually get every unit anyways, so it doesn't really matter too much. I'm just trying to tell you guys what you guys should prioritize, because they are the best for your account progression. That being said, I hope you guys found this video helpful, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.